What's up, everybody? This Let's Talk About It movie edition live. I'll be doing a in-depth dive into the Final Destination franchise, full movie by movie breakdown. My YouTube channel has 566 subscribers with 1,681 videos, 364 views. All right, the Final Destination movies all follow one brutal rule. Someone has a premonition of a disaster, saves a group of people, and then death comes back to correct the timeline in horrifying ways. The franchise became legendary because of its insane chain reaction kills, being scared about everyday objects, and twist endings. Okay, let's get started. Final Destination 2000. The premise: high school student Alex Browning boards Flight 180 to Paris. Right before takeoff, he has a terrifying vision that the plane explodes midair. He panics, gets kicked off the plane along with several classmates and a teacher. And then the plane really explodes exactly like his vision. The survivors think they cheated death. They didn't. How death works. Death starts killing the survivors in order they were supposed to die on the plane. This movie established death design, invisible fourth kills, omens, signs, photos predicting deaths, survivor order rules. Most famous deaths: Terry getting hit by a bus instantly, teacher killed by kitchen explosion, Billy decapitated by flying metal. Ending: Alex thinks he beat death 6 months later in Paris until Carter nearly dies and Billy gets killed instantly. Instead, you never really escape death. The movie ends with the realization you never really escape death. All right. Final Destination 2, 2003. The premise: college student Kimberly Corman has a vision of a gigantic highway pileup caused by a logging truck. She blocks the highway entrance and saves several people before the disaster happens for real. This opening is considered one of the greatest horror openings ever. Big twist: the survivors are connected to survivors from the first movie. Some were never supposed to exist. Their lives were altered because Flight 180 survivors lived longer. Death's new rules. This movie expands the mythology. New life can defeat death, and survivors try to interrupt the pattern. Most famous deaths: the elevator, fire escape death, barbed wire fence explosion, and Roy sliced apart by flying fence wire. Ending: Kimberly technically dies and is revived, seemingly breaking death's cycle, but a final barbecue scene reveals another survivor's kid gets crushed by a grill explosion. Death still wins. All right. Final Destination 3, 2006. The premise: teenager Wendy Christensen has a vision that a roller coaster derails and kills everyone on board. She saves several classmates before the accident happens. This film became a fan favorite because of its style, dark humor, and creative kills. The the photo clue concept. Wendy discovers photographs containing clues about upcoming deaths. This became one of the smartest death puzzle mechanics in the series. Most famous deaths: the tanning bed scene, nail gun death, gym equipment kill, hardware store accident. Ending: the movie pulls a fake happy ending. Months later, Wendy rides a subway train and realizes everyone is still doomed. The final spot implies the train crashes and kills them all. Super bleak ending. Okay. Final Destination 4, 2009. The premise: Nick O'Bannon has a vision during a NASCAR style race when debris flies into the crowd and kills hundreds. He saves several people before the catastrophe happens. This movie leaned heavily into 3D gimmicks. Tone: this is widely considered the weakest film because characters were thinner, CGI looked rough, the story felt repetitive, but it still has classic ridiculous kills. Most famous deaths in scary movie. Most famous deaths in Final Destination 4: swimming pool drain death, car wash kill, escalator explosion, racetrack catastrophe. Ending: Nick thinks he stopped death by preventing a mall explosion, and then suddenly a truck crashes through a cafe and kills the remaining survivors. Death wins again instantly. Final Destination 5, 2011. The premise: Sam Lawton has a vision that a suspension bridge collapses during a company retreat. He saves several coworkers. Major new rule: a character discovers if you kill someone, you can steal their remaining lifespan. That added a darker survival strategy to the franchise. Most famous deaths: LASIK eye surgery scene, gymnastics accident, acupuncture death, bridge collapse opening. Legendary twist ending. The final scene reveals this movie is secretly a prequel to the original Final Destination. Sam and Molly board Flight 180. You then watch the opening disaster from the first movie happen, again from a different perspective. One of the best horror franchise twists ever. Final Destination 6, 2025. Final Destination Bloodlines. The premise changes the formula. Instead of random survivors, the story follows a family whose grandmother escaped death decades earlier. Now, death is coming after the bloodline generations later. College student Stephanie Reyes investigates her family's connection to death and tries to stop the curse. Why fans loved it. The movie refreshed the franchise by expanding the mythology, connecting generations, adding emotional stakes, bringing back Willem Beckwourth Love. It became the highest grossing and best reviewed movie in the franchise. Tony Todd's final appearance, legendary horror actor Tony Todd returning as William Bloodworth in one of his final screen performances. Fans consider it emotional and fitting. Most talked about elements: family curse, storyline, massive tower disaster opening, IMAX specific death arrival visuals, and more emotional character development. Final Destination 7, scheduled for 2028. What we know so far, a seventh movie is officially in development following the success of Bloodlines. Warner Brothers reportedly scheduled the film for May 12, 2028. Rumored story. One early report suggests the opening disaster could include a water park theme park catastrophe. What fans can expect. Fans are hoping for bigger disaster sequences, more mythology about death connections to previous survivors, another surprise timeline, more Bloodworth backstory through archives or reactions. As this Final Destination full movie review and preview ends, I'll end by saying these words. The overall Final Destination franchise themes. The franchise is really about fate being unavoidable, fear of everyday life, trauma after survival, and humans trying to control destiny. And every movie asks, can you really cheat death? The answer is almost always no. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it.